Hey guys, and today we will be recreating a camera system like this one using just commands, and I will be covering every single command that goes into play here. So to build a camera system like what I just showed you, there's a couple of things that you have to consider. The first is you need to be able to teleport a player from location to location and kind of interpolate in between the rotations and positioning that needs to occur. In this video, we're not going to be covering any kind of teleportation interpolation, but we will cover rotation interpolation just because this is a basic tutorial on how to do cinematic cameras in the game. So there will be some kind of issues that you may have to overcome either just with brute force or with some insight of your own. If you guys like this kind of concept, leave a like. Let me know how much you want to see potentially a full-on pack of this. This is more of a tutorial and doesn't solve all the issues that may come up with cinematic cameras that a full-on kind of pack would have. For example, it doesn't really solve setting up multiple cameras throughout your map. This is more something that I kind of scrap together. You can solve all of the other issues on your own, but maybe I will solve some of them for you in the future if I feel like making a full-blown pack. But this only supports one camera path per run through, but it's very useful for recording videos as well, which if you saw my latest map trailer, I actually threw this together specifically for the video, and I just recorded some of these kind of camera angles. So to get started, we're gonna have to make a new data pack, and I just like doing that by copying my starter pack, which has everything needed in it, and then I'm going to rename it to camera. Okay, and I will just rename this to cam. Okay, and inside here I'm going to rename this to cam. And then I'm going to go in, and I do not need any loot tables or recipes for this, and I do not need any block tags. I just need load and tick functions. And inside the load and tick functions, I need to change this to cam and this to cam, so it knows what functions to run when the game reloads and when the game ticks. So then inside here, we don't need advancements and we don't need tags. We're all good. And now we're set up. I don't do this all the time, but I will do it for this for quick P. Okay, so there are a few things we need. Number one, we need to detect positions. Like we need to have stored positions that players will go to, aka waypoints. How do we have waypoints? We use markers. So I'm gonna go ahead and do data pack disable camera, kill at e type equals not player. Just get rid of everything. And we are basically gonna need waypoints. We're gonna want markers. So you put a marker down, okay? And then you need to go from this marker to the next marker to the next marker. So we need ordered markers. And how are we going to do order? Well, order is typically accomplished with a scoreboard. So let's make a scoreboard called cameras, okay? So these are just camera anchor points. The name I would not say is a good name for the scoreboard, but again, we're throwing this together kind of conceptually. So just go along with it. All right, so next we're going to need to be able to place these. I'll call them anchors. Maybe I will change this scoreboard name to anchors. Okay. And then I'm going to rename this file to place, and then this will place an anchor. So we're going to summon a marker with some tags, and one is going to be init, and the next is going to be anchor. Okay, so then we're going to do scoreboard players add dot global anchors 1 scoreboard players operation at e tag equals init anchors equals dot global anchors. Okay, so what this will do is it will keep track of how many anchors we have placed and give a unique value to each of these guys, so they each get a unique value. Okay, and then we're going to want to reset, so we will have a reset function, and this will do kill at e tag equals anchor. And there's some efficiency stuff you can do with type selectors. I'm not going to be doing that here because this is just ran one time. It's for the, it doesn't matter. All right, so then we'll do scoreboard players set dot global anchors 0. So this resets the score. So now I can go ahead and run around and place these, and then I can get rid of them with the reset. Okay, so next we need to basically have some kind of tracking system where the player will go to each of these anchors. So when you start, let's have some kind of start to start the path. And we're going to do scoreboard players set at S anchor 0. So this puts you at anchor 0. Okay, you want to go to the next anchor and the next anchor and the next anchor. There's various ways to implement this. This is going to be a less efficient way than I did in my version of the pack, but it's easier to explain. So I'm going to set my anchor to 1, and then I'm going to do TP at S to at E, tag equals anchor, scores equals anchor equals 1. So this teleports you to the start, and it will put me in spectator. Okay, so that's how you start things. Okay, and then let's go ahead and go into main. Okay, and we're going to do execute as at a game mode equals spectator, scores equals anchor equals at least 1. So if you have at least 1, then that means you're on the path. Then you go to them and you run the function cam path. Okay, so this is going to direct you along the path. All right, so then along the path, what do you need to do? You need to teleport towards the next anchor. So this would set, we should set the anchor technically to 2. Okay, because 1 is the one that you're starting at, 2 is the one you're going to, and you want to go to the next one. So then, I did that in the wrong place. All right, so then inside the path, you need to do scoreboard players operation dot search anchor equals at S anchor. Okay, so this is the anchor that you're looking for, and the ID of the anchor you're looking for is the one that you're going to, which is your score. Okay, so then you want to do execute as at E, type equals marker. We'll use a type selector to make this more efficient. Tag equals anchor, if score at S anchor equals dot search anchor. So we use this fake player as a midway point to increase the efficiency of this check, because basically we need to go to all the markers and see if they have the same anchor as us, so we can get rid of using an extra selector like at P or at A tag, right? So then we find the one that matches. So after this statement, we will be at the anchor that matches, and then do run TP at P 0.2. Okay, so this will teleport the player 2 points in some direction. So then we basically just need to do facing, and this will affect whether you put facing before or after really affects how the command works, kind of, but since you're doing it every tick, it won't matter much. Entity at S eyes. Okay, so let me make sure that I typed this right. And yes, I did. All right, so what this will do is it will teleport the nearest player, and since we did not change the position the command is run, the nearest player will be the player who is running this function, and it will copy that player's anchor score and find a marker that matches it and teleport them towards it while facing it. And I may play around with this in a little bit because I don't want to affect the player's rotation. So let's go ahead and hit reload. And then we're going to put 2 blocks down. And we're going to run at these blocks function cam place scoreboard of the sidebar anchors. Okay, so you can see that there's something with a score of 1. And I'm going to run place again. And there's something with a score of 2. And I'm going to run start once I figure out what the bug is. Okay, so the problem with start is I need to make sure that it's only teleporting you to one thing. Okay, so then we go ahead and run cam start. And it may be invisible and set my score to 2, but there is some kind of other issue. So if we look at path, it is not running path. So let me try this. I did not spell anchor correct. It is anchors. So I go ahead and add that all in there. And then I go ahead and run this. And once again, I did not put the word anchors here. So there you go. We're teleported along the path, but you can see that obviously when we get there, it jiggles out, and I'm able to move with my arrows. That's kind of fine if you're recording a video, which this is kind of intended for recording a video. If you want to prevent players from moving with WASD, you're going to want to make them spectate an entity and teleport that entity if you're doing this for a map. But the commands are the same. You're just not teleporting at P, you're teleporting an entity that they're spectating, and you kind of force them to spectate that entity, which means you check when they're not close to it and respectate them. But that kind of stuff you can figure out on your own. But anyways, so that works. Now we have to know when we're at it. Okay, so we go to this again, which we could make this more efficient with a subfunction, but we're not going to right now because I'm not caring too much about efficiency. I'm kind of under the assumption this is for a video. So then if entity at P distance equals ... No. As at P. Wait, no. So we need to detect when the player is near this thing, or like directly inside of it, to basically say go to the next anchor. So what we're going to do is we're going to do at s, okay? And then we're going to do run scoreboard players add at P. Distance equals ... 0.1. Tag equals this. Anchors 1. Okay, so then in the beginning, we're going to give this player a tag so we know who it's looking for. Okay, and then we're going to do execute if score at s anchors equals .global anchors. Okay, so if you are at whatever the global is, which we need to do global +1. So let's do scoreboard. No, we just check if it's greater than. Okay, then we have to end the path. Okay, so now we're going to end the path. So at the end, we are going to do scoreboard players set at s anchors -1 game mode creative at s. Okay, so let's go ahead and run that again, and that'll move me towards it. And there we go. Now one thing you might have noticed that I forgot is when I'm placing these, I forgot to remove the tag. So tag addy remove init. So both of our anchors have a tag here. So then just to fix that, we're just going to run the reset, and we can test reset here. So you can see that my score is still 3 for some reason. Let's go ahead and let's go to end. Okay, it's fine. Okay, so then we'll hit reload, and then let's run place. Okay. And we run place. So now we have 1 and 2. So then we run start, and I teleported to it, and it kind of ended. Now the reason that it didn't end is because I did not run the end function there. So then we go here and end. We're done. So it'll stop running the commands. And that's how you do the camera path. Now you have the issue of interpolating the rotation of the head. And that's going to be fixed really easily. Let's start by not teleporting the player's head to face the entity. So we're going to go ahead and uncouple that. So we are going to face the entity, okay, and then we are going to run the TP, and we don't add these extra things at the end for the rotation, right? And we should be able to rotate however we want. So there you go. So we did not teleport them with a given rotation, so it will not force my head to rotate that direction. Okay, so then we just need one more thing. We're going to need some way to interpolate rotation, and that's solved very easily using a command that I created using some trigonometry, which I have a video on, and I will link in the description for a detailed description of how it works. But it is rotation interpolation in one command. And in this, I'm just going to copy it here from this version of the pack. And I am going to put it right here. Okay, so this is interpolation rotation in one command. Okay, and I'll go over how you can use it here. So you're looking for this guy, okay? And we will copy the search stuff, which I know, again, we're losing efficiency and I could make this more efficient. That's, again, up to you. This is a video, okay? So I'm going to get rid of that, and we're going to put that right here. So once we found one that matches, we're going to go rotate it as at S, okay? And then instead, we're going to replace at S with at P tag equals this, because that's the player. And then that should be like this and this and this. Okay, I'm pretty sure that all those are good. Now, the important thing for you to know about this is that the 5 and the 40 are a ratio which determines how much interpolation occurs. So the bigger the difference in these numbers, the faster the interpolation occurs. You can play around with it, change 40 to 10, change 5 to 1, change 40 to 100, play around with the different values to see what works for you, or you can make them, one of them 0.1 and one of them 20 if you're not as comfortable with the such large numbers. But when I type reload and I take a look at the error log, which does not like anchored because I have these extra words here, you will see that the rotation interpolation will occur. So if I go like this, you will see that the rotation interpolation occurs, which is great, exactly as we want. So let me go ahead and put this sidebar away. Now the last step that I did not include earlier is to do TP at E tag equals init to here. So when I place it, it copies the rotation of the player. So then when I go ahead and run reset, okay, so now we'll do like a real setup here. So then we'll do place, okay, and then we'll go looking this way over here, okay, and then we'll come back this way looking here. Okay, so then when I run start, you'll see the rotation interpolation occurs at a pretty fast pace, and it will try to match the rotation of whatever the next anchor is. So you can see that this rotation interpolation is occurring maybe too quickly, and you could make it better by making it match the interpolation based off of how far away it is, but that's something, again, I leave up to you, as I've said too many times this time. But that's everything. The basics is there. Now, what I did for my video, it's pretty much this exact set of commands, this exact functionality. Then to make my recording, I just placed a bunch of anchors close to each other to get smoother transitions, because otherwise you're just going to move in a triangle like I did there. And then I also reduced this teleportation down to like 0.01, like a very low value. And I recorded for a very long time, and I tuned the rotation interpolation till it looked really nice. And then I sped up the playback video. So that's kind of how I got it looking smoother than the TP is supposed to be. So if I go ahead and change this to 0.05 and then I hit reload, I will move a lot slower, but I can play this back at a faster speed and it'll look better. Also, at any time you can run end and you'll exit out of the camera. Anyways, guys, that's it for this one. That was longer than I expected it to take, but definitely doable, which is what I expected. So the download for this will be in the description. It's literally only 6-7 functions, very small amount of commands, pretty nice, but there is a lot of work to do in terms of making it something that could be used like as a part of an adventure map. So again, feel free to take this, use it, adapt it, change it, make it look the way that you want it to, or just use it for a video, which is kind of the intention for it originally. If you thought that this was cool, please leave a like, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.